Hi, everyone. Welcome and welcome back to Pittsburgh CLO's Close-Ups. I'm Olivia O'Connor. I'm the manager of new work development at Pittsburgh CLO, and we are back for our very final special edition episode of Close-Ups, celebrating the launch of Songs for a New Year. It has been such an honor to host these shows over the past month and to share this work with you. I want to shout out our 4 previous creative teams for their amazing work on Songs for a New Year. Over the past month, we have given you Resolutions with music and lyrics by Megan Brown and Sarah Taylor Ellis, choreography by Stephanie Clemens, A Cynic and an Optimist with music and lyrics by Matt Schatz and choreography by Latre Jerome, 12 Grapes with music and lyrics by Austin Dean Ashford and Brian Quijada, with choreography by Jewel D. Lane, and last week, No More Soggy Bottoms with music and lyrics by Rona Siddiqui and choreography by James Washington Manning. Not to mention all of the incredible vocalists and dancers and editors and orchestrators and fabulous people who have brought this work to life. If you haven't had a chance to check out those 4 previous videos, when you're done watching today, please head on over to our Facebook page, our YouTube, our website. Website is below me to watch the videos. They are fantastic. You can also watch interviews with the creative teams while you are there. They're a wonderful group of people. We're so thankful to have had them bringing their time and their talent to CLO right now. And today, I'm so excited to be closing this amazing chapter with Jillian Walker and Kasaun Henry. They created I Remembered, which you're going to have the immense pleasure of watching later in today's episode. We are so happy to welcome Jillian and Kasaun back to CLO. They were last here in 2018, developing Skinfolk, an American show in our 2018 Spark Festival. We actually spoke with Jillian and Skinfolk's director, Mayan Teo, back in May of 2020 on Close-Ups. So if you didn't check out that episode, I encourage you to go back and watch. You can learn more about the amazing show. Skinfolk was developed at Ars Nova and CLO and had its world premiere production at the Bushwick Star last year. It was a New York Times Critics Pick. Kasaun was the recipient of a well-deserved Antonio Award for Best Orchestrations. The show had to close early because of COVID, sadly, but I am confident it is going to have a life afterwards. So check out that episode to learn more. You can learn more about Jillian and Kasaun on our website. Their full bios are available there. But in the meantime, I want to get them out here today to say hello and to chat about I Remembered. So let's say hi. Hi, Jillian. Hi, Kasaun.
Hey there.
Hi. Hello.
What's happening?
What's happening? It's so good to see you both. Thank you for being here. How are you both doing? And where do you join us from today? Jillian.
We're both waiting.
I'm waiting for the other.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can go. So I am, how am I doing? I'm really excited and nervous. It's my first music video. So this is like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm trying to also take everything in. So I think I'm feeling, I'm feeling like overall really good and excited and grateful. And I am in Newburgh, New York, which is about an hour outside of the city of New York. And that's where I am. And Kasaun is not far away.
Speaking of which, so greetings everyone. Olivia, it's great to see you again. And thanks again for providing this amazing opportunity. I really enjoy working with Pittsburgh CLO. We spoke a little bit backstage, and I think Jillian said the key word I mentioned before is grateful. I'm very grateful. My heart is filled with gratitude, given the experiences that I myself and many others have gone through. And looking back on that, there's a lot of reflection that at least for myself I wanted to take. So on that note, I'm doing well, very well, and I'm very grateful, and I'm really excited to have had this opportunity again to express that, in this project. reaching out to you all from New York State. You know, I'm born and raised in Harlem, New York, but I'm actually in Newburgh, New York, with Jillian. I'm in her studio, which is called the 12th House. So much, well, I think everything we shot was pretty much in Newburgh for the most part. So yeah, so I'm in her studio, which is called the 12th House. So if any of you are looking for space or rentals, holler at her. It's a little shout out for her.
Wait, oh, well, okay, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Right. That's true too.
We'll confer.
No doubt.
Thank you both so much. And thank you for joining us. We are live today, by the way. I don't know if I actually said that out loud, but we are live with Jillian and Kasaun. So thank you for joining us. And this Songs for a New Year piece is the only piece that has both of you folks doing everything from conception all the way through execution. So music and lyrics by the two of you, vocals by Jillian. Jillian is in this music video, and the video was made by Harlemwood Studios, LLC, of which Kasaun is the creative director. So 2 people, 3 months from beginning to end. This has been in gestation since late November 2020. Why did you think it was a good idea to do all of these things yourselves? And how do you feel to be done today?
Kasaun, you start.
You want me to start? Well,
yeah.
So for me,
because
it was,
let me say why.
Okay.
Because you really wanted to jump on, you know, doing the video, and I was excited, but it was really, you were the engine of that idea.
Yeah. So yeah, it was an opportunity for an adventure, you know. So doing the music was something that I knew I was going to be able to do. Excited about that as a composer and pianist. And, you know, Jillian and I, we've done tons of songs and stuff. So I knew we had that. So what was extra exciting about this was the opportunity to shoot the video. And so that's just one aspect. But also there's another thing, you know, I also wanted to be sort of the midwife to this piece visually, you know, as well in some way. And so being able to provide the video aspect to it was another opportunity, not just excitement, but also understanding after Jillian and I kind of talked about what this piece means in reflection of 2020. We wanted to be, I wouldn't say more hands-on, but we definitely wanted to be the guardians of this piece's growth.
Yeah, that's beautifully put. I like the guardians of the growth. Maybe that can be a movie. I think actually also, you know, our work together on Skin Folk, when we were developing it in the Spark Festival in Pittsburgh, I learned a lot about how visual aspects of my process are and how important visual elements are. And Kasaun and I have been talking a lot, maybe even before then, but certainly since then, just about, you know, expanding more into working together visually. And we haven't really had the opportunity to do it until Olivia popped into my inbox with this really cool proposal. So, and then to answer the second part of your question, like, how does it feel now having done it? I always learn so much about myself every time I take on a project. And I've never taken on really like a film project before. Not for my own, you know, for my own work. And I think that, you know, the biggest things that I have come away with it with are just how the switching and noticing where I switch from sort of artist to like the more producerial side of things, and really, again, like an appreciation for like set designers and makeup artists and and the things that I sometimes take for granted as an artist. And, you know, it's taught me a lot as well about just moving forward, kind of how to plan. I think that the two of us did a really fantastic job with everything that we took on, and did it for the most, well, Kasaun mostly did it with enthusiasm. I think sometimes I could be a little whiny about things, but I really am super proud of what we've done.
I'm so glad, and you should be. And we're so honored
Thanks.
to get to, host and be the conduit for this first iteration of this type of collaboration for the two of you. So thank you for entrusting us with that work. And it truly is amazing that, the credits on the video are so funny, because it's like there could be 30 people, there could be 100 people in those credits, and yet it's Jillian and Kasaun. So it's really an incredible feat.
I think another thing I just want to mention that really kept us going is that really from conception through completion, we talked about how much we wanted this to be for the people and for, I think we also have had people in mind specifically that we've lost over the course of the last year, and everything that has been swirling in our world, politically, socially, spiritually. And I think that has been a huge, like, I felt all of that in the credits, even though it's not actually written.
Great. I love that. I love that. And I want to dive a little more deeply into the kind of inspiration of the piece itself and your vision for the piece, both musically and visually. As we've been talking about each week, and as you just kind of touched on, we gave you this pretty broad prompt, which was write something, create something that responds to the turning of the new year, that responds to 2020 becoming 2021. So what was your way into that prompt as creators?
All right. Well, so I remember talking to Jillian about the gravity of the call to action. I mean, so you and Mark gave us a lot of room to make choices in, but I felt that since we were sort of not necessarily responding to what happened in 2020, but 2020 is definitely a reference point. And when you think about 2020, COVID-19, Black Lives Matter movements, and all sorts of political, social, economic issues that are happening, I felt that this piece should, at the very least, be some kind of offering or opportunity to reflect. And I think for Jillian, a moment to think about looking ahead at new possibilities, new opportunities, a new world, in fact, right? And so I think once we sort of came to the table, this common ground that this piece is more than just entertainment, it became something sacred. And then from there, we began to submit different offerings. Some of the things I had in mind, they were like really too obvious for Jillian, and she was like, no, because I was ready to get out there, and really explore, the cruel realities of our society. But, there are obviously safety issues, and then, copyright issues and all kinds of stuff. And also how far we want to go into that. But we knew how far we would like to go, and we let, we let each other sort of guide us into finding out what's feasible, first of all, with the budget and with the time that we have, but also being in accordance with our ethics and our mission statements for our lives and to the world. So that sort of became a funnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very early on, we did have interesting conversation, challenging conversation about how much to focus on the past or the problems or the issues, and how much to highlight possibility, and how much to sort of think about the future. And I think that we had, would you say, opposing ideas, Kasaun? I don't know about that. Or
I wouldn't say opposed. I think there were degrees of intensity, right? I think on certain issues, it was a matter of how intense, how hard we wanted to go in on something. For me, I think that's how it felt to me. I mean, there was a sense of negotiation, but it wasn't, we were negotiating on the same terms with the same outcome in mind. You know?
Yeah, and it very much felt like conversations that we have all the time, you know, artistically and also outside of the work that we do together, just about, you know, how much do you bring of the past with you and how much do you leave, and what do you show to the world and what don't you show. And we kind of started with like this visual template, I think, or a set of visual ideas that Kasaun was playing with. And then if I recall correctly, kind of put that away for a little bit and I started working on the song. And I can tell you how I started working on the song if you want to know that.
Please do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just sitting one day in front of the bookshelf and knew that I was supposed to be writing this song, but at that point I was like, I don't really know where to begin. And I looked up and there was a Wynton Marsalis book, and Wynton Marsalis is a mentor and friend of Kasaun's. And anyway, I picked up the book and opened right to a page where he was talking about the impact of jazz on his life as a young person, and started sort of thinking about what it might be to reimagine a jazz standard, or to think about even just lyrically. Like I started to think about Strange Fruit, sung by Billie Holiday, and like what it might be like to sort of write something like that or within that prism. And these lyrics I remember the chorus came pretty much right away as I put the book down. I got the chorus and wrote that down. And then I thought like, oh, I don't know if that's the direction. And I proposed this kind of like up-tempo, like, hey, like celebration song to Kasaun. And he was like, no, I really feel like I want some more gravity to whatever we do. And that's when I brought him that chorus and I said, well, what about this? And he was like, yeah, this is the direction to go. So the rest of the song unfolded from there. And I think then we came back to the visual aspect of things.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And
now,
and
Olivia.
Yes.
Sorry, I just want you to know. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
You should know. In between the beginning and all of that, we actually had, I don't know, numerous renditions, all right? Like drafts of different kinds of tracks.
Yeah.
Okay, because it goes both ways. Because I was coming up with I had something in mind, which was a little bit more like electronica in a way, you know, very kind of big and fantastical and, you know, imaginative. And Jillian was like, well, I'm not sure. She wanted something more along like a live kind of feel, neo soul kind of feel. But I think I went through at least 3 to 4 different tracks, right? And then several variations of each of those.
Yeah.
At the very least. Because I know for sure, because the way I labeled them, I remember A and then the variations of A. Then I remember B, then the variations of B. We're at C, and the track you have is actually, I remembered C variation 3.
Wow. I mean, you use the word negotiation, and it's true. It's like a very productive kind of negotiation, you know, of figuring out how to create this, especially within, you know, the parameters, but also within the open-endedness of this. So I appreciate the amount of back and forth that you two kind of work through together to create this beautiful piece, which I think retains elements of a lot of things that you're talking about. I think that one of the things that sticks with me about the piece is a sense of resiliency in what I take away from it, of struggle, but also yes, perseverance and hope for the future. And so I hear all of those things in what you're describing. And I want to ask you about the visual aspect of the piece, because it is so visually arresting and has many images that kind of stick with you after a watch. And just logistically, Kasaun, as a filmmaker, what is your process like for creating that work? Do you storyboard? What did this shoot look like? Talk us through a little bit of that filmmaking process.
Well, I have a very vivid and untamed imagination. And so I usually start off with that. And then I'm brought back to reality based on circumstances. I'm running into, a brick wall when I thought that this was, an open vista, of opportunity for me. And it was really a concrete wall right in front of me, literally in a sense, because we actually use concrete in this piece. But I started off with images, and I started off with a visual story I started sharing with Jillian. And after a while, we have to realize what our resources were at the time. And then once we began to sort of filter what is possible, then I began to refine ideas. And so in a sense, I storyboarded, but that was after we began to pinpoint where we're going to shoot. And also like when and time. And so there are some green screen shots in this piece. And obviously there's some locations that we, were in real life. And then also there's some footage that I've gotten, to use, like the protests, because I wanted those elements. And then we also have footage of people in certain circumstances to help us express what we cannot do, visually or musically or lyrically at the time. I think because Jillian and I really invested so much in going back and forth about what this piece means, very often when I would find images or put down sort of a sequence of sort of looks, we were more or less on the same page, unless, there was something Jillian actually wanted to include or nuance to sort of to merge with the lyrics as well, because she's definitely embodying and being a performer. She's not only just the lyricist, but she's also the singer, she's everything in this piece. And so, it was important for her to be able to embody the visuals that I was bringing to her. Like, how does it feel for her to be there in these places and to perform in these spaces that I have in mind. So at the end of the day, it was a very big symposium of collaboration on these ideas visually. I had these crazy ideas. Lord knows if I told you what I wanted to do, I mean, maybe Jillian would tell you to side, and I was like, that's not possible. And then we started refining. We were even on Amazon. We were looking for like clothing and this and the third. She's like, we can't buy all of this. And like, I wanted to get all of these spaces. I wanted to get people. I wanted to include interviews and all sorts of things. But for the most part,
we're gonna come back to you. Kasaun, we're going to come back to you for like the feature film length version of I Remembered. That's in the cards for the future.
Let's
he's
do
ready.
This.
Yeah, he's ready. Well, I want to share this video with our audiences. I have more questions for the two of you. I could keep talking to you because I find your process so fascinating, and this piece has a lot of like rich layers to unpack. But I also want to share it and celebrate it and get it out into the world. Yay! Before we do share, I want to thank, as always, Becca and Sid, who run the show behind the scenes. Thank you, Becca. Thank you, Sid. I want to thank Steph Barletto, our designer, for our graphics, composer Adam Overett for our theme music. Jillian and Kasaun, it was so wonderful to see you today. Thank you for giving us this peek into your process.
Thank you, Olivia, for everything.
Thank you. and folks watching at home, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching this week and all the previous weeks. We so appreciate it, and we have loved sharing this work with you. This is such a wonderful note to end on. So with this, our finale, thank you, folks, and please enjoy I Remembered.
out all the striving. I woke up believing I was barely surviving. I woke up angry. I woke up flushed. The world tried to tell me my people were crushed. And then the dream came, and then the rain fell, and then the flood rushed, and I remembered, and then the sun rose, and all the earth dried, and in my heart, oh, then I remembered the open skies clear to conspire to make this the time we will end all the fire. Our lessons will lead us as we return to living the actions for which we all yearn. That's when the dreams came. That's when the rains fell. That's when the floods rushed, and we remembered. And then the sun rose, and all our tears dried, and in our hearts, oh, we all remembered. I imagine, I dream, I rest, I dwell in possibility. I make, I build, I create, we create. We go forward into the open, we open. The storm is passing over and passing through us. Right now is the beginning.